Hey everyone, welcome back to Pretending with Dice. As always, I'm your host and game master, AJ. Before we get into today's new episode, I just want to say a big thanks to everyone who voted in our recent Tournament of Champions polls on Twitter. For those who missed it, we set out to answer the question asked to us by Tayshol during our anniversary Q&A about which one of our player characters would win in a giant battle royale. And after 5 rounds of voting, our original surly elf rogue, Enave, came out on top. We had a lot of fun throughout the whole week of voting, so we might do something similar again in future, maybe like a tournament of villains or something. Who knows? Watch this space. Alright then, so I'm super happy that we finally made it to this new storyline that we're starting with this episode. As long-time listeners will know, this has kind of been a long time coming. We recorded and put out the Session 0 for this group way back in March, so yeah. Yeah, without any further ado then, I guess, let's not wait any longer. Enjoy. Okay everyone, welcome to a brand new D&D storyline. For those who missed our Session 0 episode that we put out a little while back, why don't each of you introduce yourselves and the character you're going to be playing? Let's start with Shams.
Hi everyone, so I'm Shams, as was stated. I'm playing a character called Erebus. He is an Aarakocra Paladin Druid, or Druid.
Are we going with Tropical Druid? No, I feel...
I like Tropical Druid, personally. Sounds very acapella-go-ish. Sounds also like a drink.
I'm really picturing him wearing like a Hawaiian shirt now, though, which is not probably not what you had in mind.
He's holiday dad.
It doesn't quite say seagull. It says more macaw.
Yeah, he's on island time. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, basically he's a giant seagull.
Awesome.
He looks after a fishing village, and, well, he did. And now he's ready for a new adventure, basically.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Cool. Katie?
Hello, I'm Katie. I'm playing an Genasi Sorcerer called Celeste. She is a hardcore conspiracy theorist. Doesn't really like the company of others.
Who does, though?
That's very true.
So I'm going to take it personally now.
I think we'll get on.
We'll be fine.
I'll convert you to
the whole
the
first
conspiracy
episode
theories.
is going to be just like hardcore PvP attacking each other for social like
You will be my friends.
Yeah. Awesome. Sorry, I kind of interrupted your description there with
No, that's okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it, to be fair. She's just very much a conspiracy theorist. Very weird. Very, very weird. Very erratic. Very eccentric. Yeah.
Cool.
Everything's an omen, you know, kind of deal.
When is it not?
And finally, Liam.
Hey, I am playing Faen, the Shadowkai elf. He is a Grave Domain cleric, and I'm pretty much decked out in cleric-based things right now, including my goddess's holy symbol and also a cleric t-shirt.
In real life? We're talking, yeah.
Yes, in real life. I am full nerd right now.
Yeah. Are we saying that your character is also wearing a flannel shirt, though? Or
as much as I want that.
A bit more goth, maybe.
As much as I want that, no.
Yeah. Did we say he's a cleric of the Raven Queen?
Yes, he is a cleric of the Raven Queen.
Awesome. Okay, so without any further ado, let's jump into this brand new storyline. Throughout the land of Valana, the long hot summer of 1307 is finally coming to a close. It's been a strange year thus far. Rumours of a village trapped in a bubble have made their way far and wide, although the forces of the king and the wizards of the Grand Arcanium of Valane have done their best to assure the populace that such tales are ridiculous. Elsewhere, the famous pirate captain, Pettigrew Pete Smiles, made a daring escape from the impenetrable prison known as the Crag and hasn't been heard of since. Closer to home, just in the past few weeks, there is talk of a rising star in the Explorers Guild making the first successful climb of the legendary Winged Peak in generations. For the farmers of the vast rolling plains of Valana's Golden Plateau, however, the end of the summer means only one thing: the final harvest of the year. Sandwiched between the forbidding Cloudkeep Mountains and the border with the neighbouring country of Ashala, the hearty folk of the plateau take pride in working the land, feeding the nation, and earning a restful autumn and winter full of celebration. We will start our tale by joining the first of our protagonists, Faen, our gothed-out cleric. Faen, you've been travelling for the last couple of days in the company of several other clerics of varying faiths towards the village of Alfred Mill to take part in the annual Harvest End Festival. As I said, you're travelling in the company of other clerics, 3 in fact. There is a very elderly halfling who's introduced himself to you as High Priest Ribbin, who you found out is a cleric of Eluna. He's super old, and you've realised since meeting him, mostly deaf. He's quite softly spoken, but anytime anybody really says anything to him, it's quite clear that he hasn't really got any idea what's been said to him.
Yeah.
But he's decked out in sort of quite shimmery, kind of clearly quite old robes, but they're fairly sort of... you can tell he's quite high up in his sort of branch of the Church of Eluna. Also with him and you is a female dragonborn priestess of Bahamut, who's you've kind of gotten the idea is the most sort of professional kind of the 3 of them. She's sort of she's not kind of like disapproving at all or anything, but while the other couple are sort of, they'll exchange the odd joke or have a laugh, she sort of seems quite focused on the job at hand, which
Very
is
professional.
Yeah. She's sort of kind of haughty, a little, again, not rude to you, but sort of
Gives me a lot of stink eye.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Like, yeah, you can tell she's not going to take any.
Not going to take any shit.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. The Dragonborn is Priestess Semrin, and again, she's sort of. You have a tough time aging Dragonborn. You put her maybe sort of a little bit past middle age for a Dragonborn.
What scale colour is she?
Bronze.
I'm very sorry.
Trying right on the spot. So yes, and your final travelling companion is a human priestess of Lathander called Priestess Alyssa. Again, she's sort of, you put a middle-aged kind of human. She's very friendly. She's been the most talkative with you on the road. So yes, the cart is winding its way along a kind of, not a sort of gravel track, but kind of the main sort of road to Alfred Mill.
Okay. Shall I describe Faen? What
You
Faen
can
looks
do,
like?
yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Hey, Faen is this weird mishmash of like a lightly armored kind of street thief combined with a very tattered robed priest.
Okay.
He has light grey robes with like hints of white in them, that have like at the braces, a bit of the chest piece, like greaves and shoulders there has like leather armor strapped on. The robes are very well made, very recent, like much more like recently made than his other armor, but it's very road worn. Probably one of the few bits of clothing he owns, if not the only bit of clothing.
So almost like you had the armor for a while before. And
and he kind of strapped that makeshift onto the robes there as part of it. He is grey-skinned, some hints of like almost kind of like vine tattoos hinting at the edge of his neck. Very, very like off-white hair that's long and uneven, but like tied back into like a like Geralt of Rivia kind of like half tail.
Okay. Kind of a man bun going on.
Kind of, yeah. Just like I need this out my eyes. This will do sort of thing.
So he's not one for real like style. He's going for kind of
no. He's
hobo
like this
chic.
is in my yeah. Essentially, he's like this is in my eyes. Get it out of there.
Yeah.
He has like a satchel on that's very very like tattered and worn. The only things that look well kept are the kind of slightly battle worn like buckler shield that he has like kind of leaned up next to him. A dagger which is kind of hanging on his belt, and this is probably the most well crafted air quotations, I just realised in this recording, thing that is strapped to the satchel is a dark grey black Plague Doctor mask.
Okay.
Which is very, very functional. Has some slight patterning to it. Other than the robes, that's all that has some sort of visual,
kind of engraving, not engraving, but a little bit of sort of
kind of a bit of decoration to it. There, this is slightly worn, but seems to be in better nick than everything else. There,
right? Okay.
That's hanging on his belt there, and yeah, he has a very kind of strange, very suspicious kind of demeanor, kind of trying to keep to himself, but very quickly engaged with everyone else.
Okay, all right. So yeah, as I say, you've been kind of on the road for about a day or so. Would you say you set off with them, or did you kind of find them later, maybe sort of stumble across them sort of on the road, recognizing fellow clerics, even if they're not?
Oh yeah, definitely picked up on the road.
Okay.
Yeah. Very hitchhiker style. Where he kind of spotted them and kind of flagged them down, kind of realised what they were, and then was kind of oh, shall I join you? Shall I join you guys? I'm also a cleric. Kind of be lift up the tattered.
Hello there, fellow clerics.
Yeah, hello there, fellow clerics. He had a skateboard hanging on his shoulder.
Yeah.
One thing I should probably mention, around his neck is a dull steel silvery raven skull shaped pendant that is his holy symbol.
Yeah.
It just kind of peeks out underneath the cloak.
Alrighty.
Pretty important thing for a cleric. I should have pointed that out, actually.
Yeah. All right. So you sort of round a bend in the road. The Dragonborn priestess Semrin is sort of the one who's kind of been in charge of the horses. You get the feeling she's maybe been the one who kind of was organised this year's trip out to the Harvest Festival. As I say, Priestess Alyssa has been the most kind of friendly to you throughout the whole trip. She sort of turns to you and says, "So is this your first time in Alfred Mill? Is it? Was it Faen, wasn't it?"
Yes. And he kind of very awkwardly kind of shrugs against the armor that he's wearing.
They're kind of ill-fitting, or
it fits him well, but he looks like it's very makeshift.
Right. Okay.
Because the armor's not meant to be put onto cleric robes.
Right.
Yeah, I've not really made my way out to this sort of area that much. There, mostly kept from cities and small towns.
Oh, it's very nice. You really should get out here more often. I've been making this trip, the last 10 years or so, over with Ribbon over there. I think he's been going for nearly 100 years.
Wow.
Isn't that right, Ribbon? And in the corner, he's what? I do hope they have the cider contest again.
I like him already.
Oh, a drinker, are you, as well?
Sometimes. Depends if I can afford it or not.
You sort of see the Dragonborn kind of looking at you, sort of not disapproving, but kind of a little bit of a raise of the eyebrow.
I kind of give her a very kind of speculative look. I'm not sure if... Well, I'm quite perceptive. Does she look like she comes from money?
Make an insight check.
Ooh.
First roll of the game.
I'm good at that. 16.
16. Okay, it's tough to tell, but she's got the tailoring on her clothing is quite fine. You haven't met many priests or priestesses of Bahamut.
Yeah.
So you can't really judge as to whether this is standard or not, but at the very least you can tell she takes quite good care of her vestments and things. It's possible she comes from money, but you can't really sort of tell because she's sort of fully decked out in in full sort of kind of official looking sort of
yeah. I don't really have a point of reference to it.
No, as opposed to I would say the other two don't seem to be as formally dressed, I will say. Ribbon is pretty much just in a kind of tattered kind of, almost looks a little bit like a dressing gown sort of thing. As I say, kind of quite shimmery and kind of it might have been fine at one point.
Yeah, but now it's...
But he's a little bit old. He's got his holy symbol, and that is all quite shiny, and that is the symbol of the moon. But compared to Semrin, his look is a little bit more kind of he's almost... If he didn't have the shimmery robe, you would guess he's just a guy in some clothes.
Yeah, just not
sort
a
of
guy.
thing.
Okay. Yeah, I shoot a respective look, but don't scowl as much as I would initially.
So Alyssa turns to, sort of a little bit shouting to get over the deafness of Ribbon. So, yes, I'm sure they'll have the cider again, Ribbon. You know you like that one. Yes, a little bit of the local does me good. Yes, but she gives you a sort of a little bit of a knowing look and kind of leaning in, sort of whispering, says, he does like a bit of a drink, this one, but it's all for the best, I think. He spends most of his time minding his shrine on the mountainside above Midrest Keep. Good to get him out and about in the countryside now and then, I think.
Yeah, I imagine so. I mean, is he okay? He looks like he's talking to that bush over there. I don't think he can see very well.
Oh, he'll do that. Yes, it's fine. Don't worry about it. That's just him.
Right. Kind of like slightly kind of impassive there. He doesn't really seem to look very emotional, but he kind of seems to react normally to everything there, but he just has a very neutral kind of like resting
cleric face.
Resting cleric face.
At this moment, the cart kind of rounds a bend in the road, and you sort of get your first look at Alfred Mill itself. The most prominent feature you can see, which sort of immediately catches your eye, is a very large water mill on the western side of the village. It seems to be constructed of a mixture of quite sturdy-looking stone and thick timbers, which you might guess have come from the nearby Nephrodil forest just to the south. The mill actually seems to be such a prominent feature that you would maybe guess that it's what gave the village its name. As for the village itself, it seems fairly substantial from what you can see. From where you are, you can see a decent number of houses and other buildings sort of nestled amongst and around a fair number of large trees. All around the village, as you look about, there's a sort of the sort of sea of rolling farmers' fields, which you've become quite used to here on the Golden Plateau.
Okay.
So yeah, you get your first look down at the village. The one thing, actually, can you give me a perception check?
Ooh,
unless you don't care about what you're looking at.
I very much care.
Okay.
Same again, 16.
16. Yeah, you can just about kind of through some trees see what looks to be quite a large kind of marquee tent being erected. It looks to be kind of a mixture of purples and reds, and that seems to be being put up. What you would guess would be the festival grounds.
Marvelous. Okay, yep. I kind of like see that, kind of take a note of it, sort of where it is in relation to everything else, and it's kind of like I've kind of set up a little bit to kind of keep an eye on sort of like what's going down, and then just like sit back down for the last bit of the journey. Kind of enjoying not having to walk all the way here.
Yeah. You've been doing a lot of wandering around the countryside on foot, then?
Pretty much. I can't really afford like cart travel. Kind of like try maybe like sneak my way onto some like passing like merchant caravans if possible there, but they're normally a bit harder. Yeah, because they're normally guarded. But I mostly just kind of have walked a place there. His boots are fucking wrecked. And they are like held together by like scraps of like some belts that he might have like pinched, or just like some makeshift bit of leather there, but like they're the most worn things on him there. Also probably the only pair he owns.
Okay.
He's very ramshackle cleric.
You need a good pair of boots if you're going to be doing a lot of walking. So
essentially, yeah.
All right. Okay. So yeah, as you look, your cart starts heading down towards the village. Celeste.
Hello.
You are woken by the sound of a cockerel crowing. You've been staying for the last little while in the barn of a farm a couple of miles outside of Alfred Mill, owned by a man named Oscar Mason. He runs the farm with his teenage son. His wife tragically passed away a couple of years previously, and he's doing his best. This is the whole campaign. There's no conflict. There's just just a lot of tragic backstories.
And doing his best.
No, aren't we all?
But yeah, as I say, you've been kind of staying in exchange for doing a few kind of odd jobs around the farm. He's given you a place to sort of rest and that, and sort sort of stay.
Can I make a request?
Sure, yeah.
Can I have some goat friends? And I just like sort of talk to them. And
Oh, no, you've totally got goat friends.
Oh,
yeah,
thank
they
you.
live in the barn with you.
yeah, they're my friends.
Yeah. What
I
are they
talk
called?
to them. They talk to me. I haven't thought that far.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
we'll get back to it.
There's this one called Fred. There's one called Balthazar.
One called Baphomet.
Yeah.
Totally, just completely. Yeah.
And there's one called Slick Ted.
Ted. Okay.
He's real greasy.
He's the
gotta
cool
watch
guy.
that.
Oh,
He's
Gotta watch
all
that
that
one.
greasy
yeah,
goat.
and he's the coolest goat you've ever met.
Okay.
If he was human, you get the feeling he'd be wearing sunglasses 24/7.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He struts around the farmyard like he owns the place. I will not remember those goat names. So yes, you're.
Plot twist, he does own the place.
So yeah, you're woken up by the crowing of a cockerel, and you can hear already out in the kind of the farm yard sounds of somebody moving about. You're not sure if it's Oscar or his son Jake, but yeah, you're awake and staring at the ceiling of a barn.
I'm going to get up and just have a chat with my goats.
Yeah,
You know, like the morning kind of ritual. Make sure that they've slept well. Make sure that they're all okay.
are you just chatting to them, or are you casting speak with animals, or what, are you doing anything?
I'm just gonna chat with them. Like
Yeah.
this is pure, innocent. She's just friends with her goats.
Oh, that's
No
fair.
magic
Yeah.
involved.
No, it's all good.
The magic is friendship.
Yeah. That's close, but legally distinct enough from a certain pony show for us to get away with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the goats are pretty, a couple of them paying attention. Slick Rick is, Slick.
Slick.
What was his name?
Slick Ted.
Slick Ted doesn't seem as kind of, sort of, he's busy kind of doing his own thing, because you get the feeling he's a bit of a free spirit.
Yeah.
He's the renegade.
Yeah, he's the renegade, Yeah.
He's stuck upside down in a tree somewhere.
He's practicing like backflips up against the
Other goats.
yeah.
He's just the annoying one that sort of jumps on them.
Yeah.
And
If it was the chipmunks, he'd be the Alvin of the group.
yeah.
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 He's like, I am the main goat.
Yeah. It's me, the main goat. I am going to write down those goat names because
you're just
I
gonna
feel like
write
they're going
main
to come
goat
up.
Fred, Slick Ted, Balthazar, and Baphomet.
Yeah.
Balthazar and Baphomet would be brothers.
Yes.
And they're like I would consider them edgy, emo teenagers of the group.
Yeah.
Slick Ted is very confident. Again, he'll just go up and headbutt another goat just for the lols. And Fred is like the chill one. He sleeps a lot. We have like very good conversations about nature.
The good grass.
Yeah, he enjoys his grass.
Who doesn't?
That's not anything. Basically, he's a stoner goat. He's very chill. He enjoys his grass. He likes, he loves his nature. He'll cloud watch.
He's loving life.
Those are my goats.
Basically. Awesome.
Those are my goats.
So yeah, you spend a little bit of time catching up with your goat buddies.
As you do.
As you do, That's what happens when you crash in a barn. You've got to make friends there.
Exactly.
Basically her children at this point. From the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Your boys.
Boys.
Knocking out of the barn with your boys.
Yeah.
Both the doors open and there's just a weird gust of wind as we all walk. Like I'm in the middle and then I've got two
like
each
you've got
side
your-
of me,
your
and
goat
it's just
crew.
like
Yeah.
like slow-mo kind of action scene vibe.
Yeah.
I'm
so
just
you-
picturing
you-
Slick Ted just doing like a little Irish jig like in the background. Like the rest of you are walking out like strutting and he's just like jigging his own little thing. Backflips off a wall.
Yeah. So yeah, that happens. As you leave the barn,
Every morning.
you and your goat crew. Yeah, you've got the choreography right down by
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, it took a little bit of time. You're thinking maybe like a bit of smoke wouldn't, like a cool entrance wouldn't go
Yeah.
amiss, but it's a bit too early for that. You're not sure quite how Slick Ted would would like react to it.
Yeah.
Farmer's
He might
son
just
is
pop
resting,
off.
so he couldn't quite fan up the hay in the way that you were fanning.
Yeah. So you exit the barn, and you can see Oscar and Jake are in the yard. They seem to be loading up a cart full of a few crates of what looks like some varying kind of supplies. Like there's some fresh vegetables there. There's a couple of sort of I was about to say like cans of milk, but I don't know if we have cans.
Jugs.
Yeah, there's a couple of big milk barrels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know this thing.
Yeah. They've got they're putting a lot of shit on a cart, and
It's a manure cart.
no, not literally, but they're putting a lot of what looks like sort of varying kind of like supplies onto a cart. It looks like quite a lot. I mean, this is more kind of stuff than you'd expected them to be sort of taking if they were just heading into town or anything. Oscar kind of looks up as you come out. And go, morning. Sleep well?
I did, thank you. We've had a catch up, my goats and I.
Good to see you keeping them in line. I can see.
I don't keep them in line. They keep me in line, my friend.
He's sort of kind of a little bit like you get the feeling, and you've gotten this throughout the time that you've kind of stayed there. I mean, how long would you say you've been staying with them? I mean, long enough to make a bond with the goats.
I was going to say long enough also to trust them, because obviously if she's like her backstory, I want her to be very, very like, it takes a lot for her to trust someone. So yeah, so like a reasonable amount of time that she's actually like, okay, these guys are chill, they're not lizards in disguise spying on me.
Yeah, I mean, you can never be 100% sure, but you're pretty
no, she's
sure.
still like wary, but you know,
yeah,
it's fine.
But yeah, he's still, you get the feeling he's still kind of a little bit taken aback by some of the stuff you say sometimes.
Understandable.
Good stuff. I left some breakfast out for you on the table, but Jake and I are going to take some supplies up to Alehand and his boys up in the mountains before we head in for the festival later. If you wanted to meet us in town.
I'll have to see what my tea leaves say. I don't know whether anything is going to happen. You know, those kind of days.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, good stuff.
But you be safe.
Yeah, thanks. We're going to be a couple of hours. I mean, it's about 10 miles up the mountains, up to the mine, and I say then back to town. So I mean, feel free to take the other horse into town if that's how you want to do it. If you feel like if the tea leaves lead you that way,
they might. I might take. Yes. Okay. I'll have a word with the horse and see if they are happy for us to both go into town. If a leaf drops in your path, turn around 3 times in a circle and touch your son on his head, and you'll be safe. Okay?
Oh, okay, sure, yeah. You see his son kind of looking around, and it's like, it's getting towards the end of summer, there's a lot of leaves brown on the trees. You get the feeling like
you'll sense if it's a bad leaf.
Yeah. Not every leaf is a bad leaf, but there's some are real bastards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can have the sneaky leaves.
Yeah. So his son is kind of looking around. He's not quite sure what to make of either, but he's sort of the son has always been a bit quiet, sort of. Now you get the feeling maybe he was sort of quite affected by his mother dying, and so doesn't really talk to anybody except his dad. His dad sort of roughly saying, goes, "All right, well, keep an eye out for leaves then, son." And they kind of finish loading on the cart and give you a wave and set off out the farm gate, sort of pointing towards the mountains. And this isn't the first you've heard of the place that they're going. There is a small dwarven mining outpost called Alehand's Folly, say about 10 miles out of town, up in the sort of foothills of the Cloud Keep Mountains. You don't know much about it, just that, he doesn't. It's not suspicious that he'd be going there, especially to drop off supplies and things. So yeah, you are left alone in the farmyard. As I said, he said he'd left you some breakfast, but it's up to you what you would like to do.
I'll go have some breakfast. I'll I'll like feed the goats. I'll maybe offer them some breakfast, depending on what it is.
Okay.
I'll go have a chat with the horse, just to see what we're doing.
Make an animal handling check.
19.
19? Okay, yeah. The horse is pretty friendly. Seems basically gives you the animal equivalent of like, I'm off for whatever. But yeah, not in so many words.
Can
but
horses shrug?
Yes.
this one definitely can.
Okay,
yeah. Good. And he does. Sort of like that's Scooby-Doo. He sounds a bit like Scooby-Doo because
Okay.
I can't do a horse noise.
That's fine.
But yeah, the horse is up for whatever, so it is up to you whether you want to head into town or not.
Is it like a sort of like a big town? Like what sort of there?
It's not the biggest. It's a kind of village of maybe 200-300 people at most.
Okay.
You have heard Oscar's talked about the festival in the run up because he's sort of sent some supplies ahead into it. It's kind of the. I mean, this isn't a new thing. This happens kind of all over the area. The sort of end of summer kind of harvest celebration.
Okay.
And you get the feeling like there's 200-300 people maybe who live in the village. This sort of thing tends to pull in people from farms kind of all around the area. So it might be a few more people there than that. But it's not a huge town. It's kind of decent number of houses and a couple of pubs. But yeah, and of course the mill that I'd described to Faen earlier. But yes.
She'll go and like watch from the outskirts, kind of like suss it out.
Yeah, see what the scene's like.
Yeah, back to the wall kind of deal. Like nothing can be behind her, just in case.
Yeah. You taking the horse, or you just gonna? I'd say Oscar's farm is probably about 3 miles out of town.
I'll take the horse. You get him out.
Yeah, give him a run out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
okay.
seems like pretty down for it. So.
Sweet. Yeah, he's up for whatever. So yeah, that's cool. All right, so yeah, you leave the farm after having your breakfast and feeding the goats, and Slicked Head gives you like a sort of a nod of respect.
The tea leaves say it's fine to leave the farm.
Yeah. Do you want to do like a tea leaves thing? Or...
Yeah, sure.
Sure. I have no idea how we're going to do this.
I've got no idea.
That's fine.
D100?
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's make this. Yeah. Roll D100 and just tell me the number that comes up.
60.
60. Yeah, you get you're getting a fairly good feeling about the day, although something you can't quite put your finger on is sort of bothering you in the tea leaves pattern. But by and large, it seems like a positive deal.
Okay.
Erebus. You've been staying in Alfred Mill for about a week now. You're quite some distance from your home in the coastal village of Fairshore, but what brought you inland was a mission of sorts. A young girl by the name of Sylvie, daughter of a wealthy landowner in Fairshore, was kidnapped, and being the defender of the people that you are, you set off in pursuit. Roughly a week ago, you finally managed to track down the kidnappers not too far from Alfred Mill, and managed to bring them to justice and rescue Sylvie from their clutches. In the battle, however, you were wounded, and you've spent the last week or so recuperating and waiting for a coach to bring Sylvie and, you, if you decide to go with her, back home again to Fairshore. For the week, you've been staying in an inn called the Misty Oak. There's 2 inns in town. The Misty Oak is kind of caters more to sort of travellers and visitors to the town. It's a bit quieter, it's a bit more of a kind of like, I wouldn't call it a hotel, but it's kind of like a coaching inn with like a sort of small bar downstairs. Locals don't really go in there so much. I mean, it's not empty, but yeah, it's a bit of a sort of quieter scene. The other inn in town, the Goat and Cabbage, is a bit of a livelier sort of drinking den. The local the mill workers and the farmers and stuff, they get proper drunk in there.
Okay.
I am good at describing. But yes, you've been kind of recuperating in a room, or in the Misty Oak anyway. Yeah, you've lodgings in there, so that's where you are. You again, sort of by this point, let's say it's kind of early morning. looking out of the window of the Misty Oak, you can see there is a large tent going up in a kind of open sort of field next to the river, and some other sort of stalls and things seem to be being constructed. No sort of signs that you can read from this distance, even though you've got pretty good eyesight as a sea eagle. You're not kind of right on the thing, but you can sort of see it from the distance that you're at. What would you like to do?
Okay. So I guess I'm gonna wake up, stand up, stretch out my wings.
As you do.
Do a little bit of grooming, because gotta check them, as you do.
Gotta be done.
Yeah, gotta groom them. Gonna go downstairs, and I think I'm gonna work my way down to the river. I might fly, and see whether anybody needs any help in terms of setting up tents, because
Sure.
I've got a better vantage point than they do, so I mean...
Yeah, okay.
Why not?
You kind of wing your way down to the river. As I say, there's quite a large sort of field that stuff's being set up in. As you kind of get closer, you can see the large tent. It doesn't really look like any villagers are setting that one up. That one seems to be some people that you don't recognise. There's a couple of quite large wagons kind of been circled round just under some of the trees that seem to be kind of affiliated with that. And the whole... proceeding of the putting up of the marquee seems to be being directed by a halfling with a sort of kind of pointy purple beard, who's sort of shouting kind of not like kind of angrily, but sort of in a sort of quite forceful way to a pair of tabaxi and a Goliath who are sort of struggling to kind of get the tent up properly. You can hear him say, "No, you're off centre, Oh, this is just like that mess back in Hogtrotter. Come on, get it together."
I'm just gonna try and swoop.
Okay, so you landing, or are you just kind of doing a flyby?
I'm just gonna do like a little flyby.
Okay.
I'm just gonna, like when you see like, basically, gonna get there. I'm just gonna swoop by and then just swoop a little bit closer and kind of like a metronome kind of style, getting closer to the environment, just like, you look like you could use some help.
You kind of like, as you go on that final kind of pass, go, whoa, he kind of ducks, because he was paying attention to the tent going up, and suddenly this large bird person has sort of swung past him, shouting about needing help. Well, yes, any help would be good.
I keep swooping over him for this conversation. Picture me like a giant mosquito,
he ducks it. He ducks every time, and he's got this kind of look on his eyes, like he's hearing what you're saying, but he's also seeing your talons, and that. So he's a little bit unsure of like what's going on. You get the feeling maybe he hasn't seen an Aarakocra before, so he's a bit sort of like he doesn't quite know what the deal is, sort of thing.
I gather this vibe, and I kind of like turn just midair and just cock my head in a particular way that's more owl-like than sea eagle.
Okay.
And just kind of look at him.
I was going to say the sea eagle beak is quite sharp and pointed as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's got its own little sparkle because it's that sharp.
Like an anime kind of ding sort of.
Basically, it's like a teeth ding, but that's my beak. And I just kind of like go up to, I kind of stop midair, flap my large, majestic wings. They're very majestic. And just kind of tilt my head.
It's in the character description, yeah.
Yeah, majestic's in there. It's like it's just subtitle. Majestic.
Flies majestically.
Yes, everything is majestic. Dash majestic.
Stealth majestic.
Basically, yeah.
Well, you did your grooming, so I mean...
Of course, he's got to look good as a sea eagle.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just kind of like flaps a little bit, builds up a little bit of a gust, and he's just like, in bird culture, it is polite to speak back. I said, would you like some help? You look like you would use some help.
Yes, help, yes, please help. Thank you.
You said it was off-centre.
It is, yes.
How is it off-centre?
Well, they haven't gotten the hook over the top properly. I mean...
Okay, and I just kind of grab it and go up.
Okay, can I get just a straight strength check from you, please?
Okay, this is going to go horribly wrong. 7.
7? Okay, you're having a bit of trouble.
I'm bluffing it.
It seemed like it seemed like
it's still early morning.
Yeah, it's early. You've just gotten up.
I'm as far as they're concerned, I'm still recuperating. I'm still doing like a strained, like Oh, it's so hard.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, you feel like a bit of a twinge and that, so...
I was recently in a battle. It was very hard won.
Yes, that's fine. I mean, any help is good help, I suppose. He's sort of shouting up to you, but you're having a bit of trouble kind of hanging on, because as soon as you grab the kind of top bit, you realise it's also got the whole body of the tent hanging from it. So you're having a bit of trouble kind of lifting it.
He has like little sweat beads just dropping down his head, and he just does like this little head flick that's like, I've got this. I can do this. He's worth it.
Do birds sweat?
Yeah. Not really, but he does. As a seagull, he perspires occasionally.
Sure, we'll go with it.
With tiny shimmers as it goes.
Visually he can, it adds to the whole I'm struggling kind of look.
He's very dramatic in his strain. Like, you can see that he's like,
okay,
oh, this is difficult, but and majestic. It's very like maybe she's Maybelline, like kind of like
I'm struggling, but I'm looking good while doing it. Yeah, okay.
It's very much his vibe.
Okay, well, let's say then that it does actually take you quite a bit of effort then to
Well, I beat my wings and
you were hoping to swoop in and just very quickly kind of like almost save the day sort of thing.
I am, just they're going to appreciate me as I do it, and I'm going to take forever, so it's fine.
Yeah, it takes you a good couple of minutes to get it sort of centered, but you do get it in, sort of up onto the top of the pole properly and everything, and sort of flapping back down to the sort of assembled people on the ground, and kind of exchanging a couple of looks. Well, thank you for your help.
I bet that would have taken you all day.
Well, he kind of looks at his sort of the other people and says, well, with this lot, maybe, yes. I hope you'll be coming to the show later.
I might be convinced.
Good. He sort of hands you, he sort of pats down his pockets. There you go. He hands you a flyer, and it says, Marvelous Marvolo's Spectacular Travelling Circus on it.
That certainly seems like my kettle of fish. In my culture, in bird culture, we have something similar to this. It's more elaborate, but yes, I think this will do. A simple human affair, or not quite human. You do not appear to be human, but for me, compared to me, you're human. You're rather bold compared to me, but, yes, it seems like a good affair to come and see.
Thanks. I think... Yes, okay. Well, yeah, well, we look forward to seeing you.
Take a compliment, man.
Yes, I am. It was quite long, and I wasn't sure that. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, we would be most. You're most welcome at the show later.
He does like another head flick that's very like, I'm majestic. I got this.
Okay, and the others sort of go back to sort of unloading some crates and things into the tent at this point.
He just kind of looks at them, says, praise me, and then takes up to the sky.
He says that?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
As he leaves, you just hear a, praise me, as he goes.
Can you make a charisma check for me?
Is Erebus a paladin of himself?
20.
20, okay, alright. The halfling, it doesn't, but as you're kind of flapping up from somewhere, you hear, praise the bird person! You're not sure where it came from, and you didn't recognise the voice, but somebody's praising you.
That's what we like.
So yeah, as you're kind of flapping around, you get a better look around the grounds and that, and by this point, a few of the other stalls are being set up. There's a much smaller tent, which seems to have... It definitely wasn't there when you started, but it seems to suddenly be... It's complete, and it looks like it's been there for a while, which is odd because it wasn't there before. There's some other sort of stalls being set up. These ones look like they're more kind of being manned by people from the village, and that there's now you're here, you can sort of see the signs. Looks like somebody setting up like an apple bobbing sort of series of kind of quite large buckets, and that there is a face painting booth. There is a big sign that's being sort of erected that says cider drinking, entrance must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. There's a few other ones. There's a sort of story time booth that's being set up, but you guess it's sort of quite bright poster colour paint on that. You guess that's more for the children and that. And yeah, no, sort of a lot of kind of harvesty sort of activities being set up. And there's also a slightly raised kind of platform sort of a bit like a stage. Obviously, there's no microphones and things, but it looks like a kind of like a stage being put up as well. Kind of at the top end of the the south end of the kind of the ground, with the back to the river. But everything seems to be kind of being constructed still, pretty much. Nothing is open yet.
Okay.
But it's early in the morning.
I'm going to fly over to the river.
Okay.
Be really elaborate as I do this.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is elaborate.
I'm not going to make you roll for elaborateness.
Thank you. I appreciate that as part of his personality. He's going to like fly straight up and then not quite superhero landing style, but like literally plummet straight down like a falcon going for prey straight into the river.
Okay. It's not that deep, but
does that matter to Erebus though? Is the question.
Before you do the plumbing, can I get a perception? Are you looking for food? Is that what you're doing?
Nope.
No, you're just doing a. Okay, cool. Okay, I was going to make you look.
I just figured I'd chill in the river.
See if you saw any fish, but that's fine. No, okay, yeah. It's not that deep, but you just about managed to sort of break the surface of the water, realise that it's maybe 6 foot deep, 7 foot deep at most, and sort of pull out of your dive underwater and sort of pop up. It's not particularly fast running river at this point, but it's not like a slow kind of lazy river. This has come down from the mountains, and you would know this river is the sort of early stages of the Cirith Dune River, which actually goes all the way to the ocean, including a further into the mountains near Midrest, the Great Cirith Dune Tunnel. It passes through that, but that's not really relevant. That's just a little bit of flavour. But yeah, no, you're having a great time in the river.
I'm going to just continue grooming myself, basically.
Cool. There's a couple of small children who have like a bamboo-ish sort of fishing pole, who are just kind of watching you with kind of wide eyes.
I offer
the
them rides on my back to go like up and down the river.
Okay. One of them seems kind of scared, but one of them is like fully going for it and just has a great time.
Picture like a swan ride, basically.
Yeah. Oh, not flying, just kind of.
No.
Right. I'm trying to think of how that would look, because you're kind of more of a humanoid shape, really, aren't you?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Just sort of got this mental image of you just got sort of face down in the river with a child on your back with your head kind of like up.
Like a pigeon that's fallen into a puddle. But I'm majestic.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's done majestically.
So at this time you see things are starting to kind of come together in the festival ground. There's a few people kind of filtering in. It looks like the halfling and his other circus people seem to be like sort of pretty much fully set up now. And yes, it's at this point, Faen, your cart arrives at the festival ground. Can I get a perception check from you first off?
Sure. Not good. 11.
11. Okay.
My passive's so much higher than 11.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. Well, no. What's your passive?
No, I'm taking the 11.
All right. It's you get a good look around and that. Nothing really too crazy catches your eye. You thought you saw an Aarakocra in the river, but you can't be sure from where you are.
No, they're probably not drowning. And I just turn back.
Yeah, there's definitely a small child in the river as well.
Yeah, they're not thrashing.
They're not screaming or anything. So I mean, you're probably okay. The other clerics get off of the cart with you, and Ribbon sort of immediately starts heading towards the stage area, and you can hear him sort of muttering, "Let's get this over with, so I can get myself a cider, for God's sake." Yes. And
he cracks a very small smile.
Yeah, for quite an older halfling, he's setting quite a pace.
He's rejuvenated now. Yeah. The thought of cider, as with all of us.
At this point, Celeste, you arrive in town as well to sort of see groups of people kind of heading towards the festival ground, and everything seems to be coming together.
Cool. By this point, I've taught the children the Aarakocra Cabana. I can't speak.
The Aarakocra Cabana.
Yeah.
How does that go?
Aarakocra
Cabana.
Just that little bit.
You get the feeling that's all they could remember.
That's all they need to remember. They're small children. Tiny brains.
Okay.
So everybody on the shore, the whole two children that are there are just singing that.
But by this point, the crowds are beginning to sort of gather a little bit. Again, it's not a huge village, but there's a couple of hundred people sort of start gathering into the kind of the grounds. The other clerics lead you up towards the stage with them, and
I'm just like looking around at everything, having not experienced a harvest festival before, being from a larger city, because they can't really harvest anything from a city.
No, they don't really do that in elven cities either. It's sort of you find it's a bit more of a human thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of was with, because I think we were saying I was kind of from the like merchants kind of quarter where it's
it's not really.
But I don't really understand that sort of section of it.
It's not like weird. You don't find it like strange. It's just different to how you remember things.
I'm very much kind of like looking at everything, and they're literally pulling me along.
Yeah, they're like, oh, come on, boy, come on, I'm gonna get this over and done with.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh, and I see something else.
So the crowds are kind of gathering in front of the stage at this point. Celeste, are you kind of joining the crowds, or are you kind of finding a place to sort of just watch from afar? What are you thinking?
From afar, sort of, on like the outskirts of all the people, more than anything else, rather than joining the crowds.
Yeah. Okay. And Erebus, where are you? This is going on. Still in the river?
I'm basically bobbing for pebbles at this point for the children.
All right. Okay. But the children at this point, their parents come over and say, "Oh, come along. We don't want to miss the blessing."
In bird culture, it is rude to take away one's adoring fans. You should learn, puny humans. You should learn.
Well, I don't appreciate being called puny, but come on, look. You can't keep my son from me. We need to go watch the blessing.
I revoke any blessing that you may have bestowed upon you, but sure. And then I glisten.
Okay.
Erebus is already my favourite character ever of anything.
So yeah, the parents just are kind of giving you a weird look and leading the children away from the riverbank to sort of join the crowds in front of this stage.
In future, you should pay childminders.
So you kind of just appointed yourself these childminder, and now you're demanding payment.
Valid.
I am a lucrative soul.
Bit of a mercenary kind of like... Yeah, but fair enough. Yeah, the parent doesn't really think that you're. Are you actually asking for money?
I'm asking for praise.
The younger of the child, who's been a bit sort of like looking at you with wonder, just sort of. Thank you, Birdman.
It is okay, puny human. And I just kind of like don't quite pat him because I've got death talents.
Yeah.
Pat him with your wing.
Yeah, I just like kind of graze my wing like over his head, like a kind of swoosh.
Okay.
Like a gentle, not quite caress because that's creepy, but like a whole like just a swoosh over his head.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, wait.
Sure.
Wait. Yeah. I am going to use Druidcraft as a cantrip.
Mm-hmm.
And I will make a little flower blossom just on the riverbank or a lily pad or anywhere that there is foliage.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, yeah, cool. Well, just around them.
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Just around that particular child.
Yeah, like the child
like
sort of like
the rest of
gasps
them.
as these sort of like ring of flowers just kind of pop up around them.
Thank you for your praise, puny human. The rest of you, I have no flowers for you.
It's praise or scorn. That is how the that's the Erebus economy.
I am a simple mind. I am a -1 to intelligence. I am a simple mind.
This is the thing.
I think we both had this set out like at this like in the initial like setup there. Like we both have a -1 to intelligence. We're both like a 9.
Oh, this is gonna go great.
I make up for it in my charisma.
I make up for it in wisdom though. I'm 20 in wisdom.
I'm Dexy.
So anyway, there's these crowds that are gathering in front of this stage, and the two clerics from who you've recognised because they participated in a little bit of healing for you are on the stage. There is you recognise them as Friar Thurlow and Acolyte Wender. They are welcoming what looks like a small delegation of other clerics who you don't recognise up onto the stage with them. Also, the town mayor is there as well, sort of to kind of look over the proceedings. So, Faen, as you're kind of like dragged onto the stage a little bit by the other clerics, a woman who you don't recognise, but Erebus recognises as the mayor, says, "Thank you everyone for coming."
It's at that point I realise I'm on a stage.
Yeah. Yeah. Suddenly, you look up and there's 200 to 300 pairs of eyes looking at you.
He's wide-eyed.
Yeah.
He is just like, what? He says incredibly quietly to himself.
What? What? Yeah. So this lady continues. I want to thank the delegation from Midrest for joining us once again for our Harvest End celebrations. It's always wonderful to see you all. Friar Thurlow. She gestures to the elder of the two local clerics, who bows his head before stepping forward. Thank you, Mayor Dalton. Blessings of Shantae upon us all for another year of bountiful harvests. May she continue to smile upon the people of Alfred Mill, and indeed all who are with us here today. He bows his head in a moment of sort of silent prayer before turning towards your group, Faen. I would like to invite esteemed guests to each say a few words, favouring us, if they see fit, with the benevolence of their own orders. Thank you. The Dragonborn, Priestess Semrin, steps forward, briefly shaking hands with the friar before turning to the assembled crowd. Thank you all, as always, for the warm welcome. For those who walk in the light, living lives of justice and good, Bahamut will always be your sure and certain ally through times of hardship and times of plenty. May the call of righteousness always guide your hands throughout the days of your lives. Blessings be upon you all. High Priest Ribbon steps up next and he seems to be mumbling, but you kind of catch a couple of words about good local cider, always good, looking good in the face of Aloon. Thank you for your patronage. Aloon smiles upon you. Where's my drink? All this.
A true cleric.
Yeah.
Booze cleric.
As he sort of seems to be kind of winding down, Priestess Alyssa leans over to you, Faen, and says, would you like to go next? First time and everything?
You go. You're poor. You please.
Big finish then. And she steps forward then, a big smile on her face, beaming at some small children in the front row. May the light of Lathander bless you always, bringing renewal and the hope of new life to come in the years ahead. May your lives be blessed with fruitful days and happy homes full of light and laughter as we head into the colder months, always sure of a new dawn on the horizon. Thank you. As she finishes her blessing, she kneels down, bringing a small bag of sweets out of her pocket, giving a couple to the children, before turning back to you, Faen. It's at this point that you become pretty kind of hyper-aware of a lot of very expectant looks pointed in your direction.
So he again is wide-eyed, has never ever been looked upon by so many people. He is used to being ignored entirely. And he, for a few seconds, just kind of like stammers, just... all things die. But not always. From... Yes, it's a harvest festival. So things are being taken from the ground and dying. Kind of. But there is a cycle to these all things. And what has died shall then grow back and be nicer than before. Places the very few cover you. And he walks off the stage.
Okay, there's a bit of a pause.
He just walks off the stage.
There's a bit of a pause, and then the mayor sort of like begins like a kind of like clap, sort of like, okay. That was thank you very much to our newest member of the delegation there. Very illuminating. Anyway, I now declare this year's Harvest End Festival open.
He goes behind the stage and throws up.
I mean, there's not really a behind. It's just a platform.
He doesn't know that.
You're clearly in view of everyone.
Yep.
Just like honking up onto the grass. But you feel better for it. Alright, that's going to do it for this episode. We'll be back as usual in 2 weeks' time on Thursday, October the 1st, with the next chapter of this story, and we hope you'll all join us for that. In the meantime, you can get in contact with us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, all of which we're at Pretend With Dice. If you're a Discord user, we have our own server up on there, which you can get to by the link in our Twitter bio and also on the contact page of our Podbean site. So yeah, come join us on there and hang out. Finally, you can also email us at pretendingwithdice@outlook.com. Lastly, no matter what podcast platform you use to listen to us, we always appreciate ratings and reviews. So if you've enjoyed what you've heard, go ahead and leave us a rating, review, comment, whatever. It all helps others find the podcast, and yeah, we'd just love to hear from you. Alright then, so for now, that's our show. We hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.